shattered to unbreakable. Listen here, sweet sister. Whether you think you have one little crack or you are shattered into a billion pieces, this podcast is going to give you the resources, tools, and skills to help piece yourself back together to form a beautiful, unique, solid, and unbreakable masterpiece. You are listening to Shattered to Unbreakable, the Reclaim Podcast. Let's talk. Hello, welcome to another episode of Shattered to Unbreakable. I'm your host, Brandi Babin, and today we will be talking about getting out of a rut. My 3 simple tools for getting out of a rut. As you guys have heard from the last episode, if you listened, it was a rough couple weeks, I wasn't feeling the best. Still not fully recovered, but on my way. And I just wanted to bring that to you guys because it's real life. It happens. You're not going to have good days every time you turn around. It's going to be tough sometimes. So I just want to make sure that you all know that that's normal and it's okay. And it's okay if you're not always okay. Our world seems to tell us that if you're not okay, there's something wrong with you. And that's actually the opposite. If you're always okay, there's something wrong with you. So the 3 simple hacks that I'm going to share with you today have helped me tremendously in all of my ruts. Now, I'm not going to talk about the things I talked about last week, which are super important. That is sacred silence, time alone with God and with yourself, having alone time with yourself, getting into the hobbies that you love, everything that makes you happy from the last time you knew you were happy. So if you haven't listened to the last episode on some of those tips when it's getting really dark, please go back and listen. Today, it's more about pulling yourself out of the rut in the day-to-day, simple things you can do every day in order to help your psyche and your energy and everything get back into this motivated, inspired, more peaceful place. So I'm going to talk about the 3 things that I use on a day-to-day basis. And then I'm also going to talk about being authentic, because a lot of times I think that we are comparing ourselves to others, and that is what has us in this deep rut. Or we're comparing ourselves to an image of what somebody else told us we should be, such as a spouse hoping we're different, or our parents wishing we were different, or friends or family that makes little comments, or maybe at work you're hearing little comments, or whoever has placed this idea of a good woman on you, and that's not who you are, makes you feel like you're not enough, when in reality, you're just different. And I'm going to talk about that too. So first of all, the 3 tips for pulling yourself out of a rut. I'm going to start with my favorite one. This has been groundbreaking for me. As most of you know, I am in charge of social media for my roofing job, and I'm also obviously in charge of social media for Reclaim, because I'm a one-woman show. So when it comes to social media, obviously I'm trying to scroll for trends and things like that. When you're scrolling social media, I know you've all run into this. There are so many different emotions that hit you because each reel is a crapshoot. It could be something sad. It could be something happy. It could be something motivational, or it could be something that actually affirms a belief you shouldn't be believing. So it's important for you not to scroll social media if you're in a vulnerable place or if you're confused about something, because it's only going to add confusion. My advice for you is, when you are in a great place or you're in a good mood, start saving. I don't know if all of you know you can do this. If you go to the 3 dots on the reel, go to the 3 dots if you're on Instagram and push the little bookmark button, and that'll save it. And you can go back and look at those saved messages. And it'll also allow you to make collections. So you can make collections of like, when I feel down, or when I need motivation, or whatever. And so save it to those. The way to get back to those saved messages is to click on the little circle of your profile picture on the bottom right, and then click the 3 lines or the hamburger up in the top right corner. Go to saved, and then click on your album and start scrolling through. If you're in a vulnerable place, either stay off social media or go to the collection that you have saved of inspirational, motivational, validating, affirming reels. Or funny, if you want to laugh. Laughter is a great medicine. Save funny ones that you want to look back on later. This is a great tool for you. Instead of doom scrolling, you're happy scrolling. This is so good. Second piece of advice I have for you is to create a playlist of new songs, and do some research on this, because the new songs have to have great lyrics. So you're going to want to search or do ChatGPT or something like songs with lyrics that are inspirational, motivational, Christian songs that are uplifting, things like that. Every song that you have in your phone or that you already listened to is going to be attached to a memory. And you don't want to go down memory lane necessarily when you're in a rut, because all it's going to do is exacerbate maybe what you're missing or what you long for. So what you want to do is find some new songs that now you're going to associate a new memory with, and that is this I'm climbing, I'm rising, I'm victorious type of feel. I think I mentioned it last time, but the band Rare of Breed was that for me. So I found this band called Rare of Breed, and a lot of their songs were just really uplifting at the time. And then lately, I have found some more fun songs like Despacito, and I just added Shape of You by Ed Sheeran, and just some fun, upbeat songs that makes me want to dance and be happy. Okay, that has lifted me out of some of this darkness. And then my third tip is to get active. You have to do something that moves your body. Join a Zumba class, just go to the gym and get on a treadmill. If you have a treadmill at home, do that. You would be surprised at how much 10 minutes even will help lift your spirits, because it's a chemical thing. It adds endorphins, it gives you dopamine. Everything that you need for happiness is in movement of your body. So get out there, dance, play pickleball. That's like new now, this new craze. I don't know about it. I haven't tried it yet though, so I can't knock it. But get out there and move. So those are my 3 tips for how you can get out of a rut. Now I want to talk a little bit about authenticity for a second. When we compare ourselves to other people, it immediately removes your authenticity, because you are comparing yourself to somebody else that God has designed completely different. He did not design you to be like them, because he needs you to be like you. This is something that I've struggled with over the years, but I have finally reached a point where I know that I'm authentically me for a reason, and I can celebrate it. There's several things I do to celebrate authenticity. One is called mirror work. Like, look in the mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the coolest chick of all? So I look in the mirror, I look right into my eyes, and I smile. And I say whatever comes to mind, and I say it out loud. I'm so proud of you, or you look beautiful today, or dang, you look happy. You have some good energy today, or I'm so proud of what you're going to accomplish today, or even today seems like a day of rest. Let's rest today. So talk to yourself in the mirror lovingly. And I also do body checks. It's really hard for women to love our bodies, isn't it? There's always something we can pick apart. So instead of picking myself apart, I look in the mirror and I say what I love. So I love this about my body. I love that about my body. This is something I'm proud of about my body. If I see something that I don't really love about my body, if it's something I can change, I say, I know what we can do to help fix this a little bit or improve this a little bit. If it's something I cannot change, I pray, God, please help me appreciate this part of me that you designed. Please help me see this in a different light. Please help me see this from a different perspective. And every time I do that prayer, somebody will mention it. Like my freckles, I've never really liked my freckles. I've also never really loved my skin tone. I'm super white. It's hard to tan. I just don't think it looks that great. If I'm having a moment where I'm not appreciating those things about myself, and I pray, hey, God, can you help me see this in a different perspective? Never fails, somebody will mention how cute my freckles are, or somebody will mention how flawless my skin looks. It's like porcelain. And I'm like, okay, there are good things to these attributes of myself that I'm not necessarily in love with. It helps me appreciate them differently. I wanted to just read a quick excerpt from this book. This book is called The Authentic Catholic Woman. You don't have to be Catholic to get a message out of it, though. So I'm going to read to you these short 2 paragraphs about authenticity, and I love how they put it. It's beautiful. So what the proper model does for a woman is to free her to use her God-given gifts. Each person is born into a unique set of circumstances, time, place, family, resources, and with a unique set of qualities such as talents, inclinations, education, disposition. The woman is free from crippling comparisons and can face God as an individual called to touch particular lives and can discern his specific call to her. She knows that her response in love is unrepeatable and not subject to censure by those who have their own paths or vocations to pursue. In living out her particular image of the church and staying prayerfully focused solely on its criteria, she is not bound or distracted by her mother, her neighbor, or even her best friend. I love that. When she's focused on Jesus, focused on the church, focused on her faith, she is not bound, that word, bound or distracted by her mother, her neighbor, or even her best friend. She is free to embrace her own path with its own challenges, tribulations, and joys. In this paradigm, practically speaking, every woman can find the meaning of her unique vocation and her very essence as a daughter of God. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's amazing. I love the idea of not being bound or distracted by even the women closest to me because they have good intentions, right? But sometimes they can still put expectations on us lovingly, but it still happens. And I just love being able to rest in the uniqueness that God designed me as who I am for a very specific reason. And I get to rest in the fact that I'm different. And the difference is what makes me fantastic. Well, I hope you enjoyed that today. Try out one of those tips when you're feeling like you're in a rut. And I will see you next week. I love you. Stay sparkly, sweet sister. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I just wanted to remind you about the resources we have on the reclaimstrategy.com. That is Reclaim University with free downloads. It's the Reclaim Guidebook, access to Kintsugi classes and events. So go ahead and take a look. Also, please share this podcast with anybody that you think might need to hear these messages. And if you haven't already and you think we deserve it, give us a 5-star rating. That just helps our reach. So I love you guys. Stay sparkly, and we will see you next week.